Soft packs. Soft pack.
Hello, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, with an album review for you. The debut LP from Garage Rockers, The Soft Pack. This band's name used to be The Muslims, and I was absolutely in love with the last LP they put out under that name, so unquestionably this was one of my most anticipated albums of the year. Most of the tracks here barely reach over 2 minutes, and there's nothing too fancy in the production or the playing. I'd call it punk if it weren't for the fact that there's a really crisp pop sensibility hanging in the air.
And we all know that punk is dead.
There's a raw, driving energy to all of these tracks, but most of the time, there is some kind of sweet, catchy lyric or melody to be had. Bam! And frontman Matt Lampkin really makes these hooks happen. I am absolutely in love with this guy's voice, with his personality, with his vocal delivery. He just has the swagger of Jonathan Richman and the intelligent assurance of Ian MacKaye.
You got a talent, don't you know? You're more talented than you know, and you give it a shot.
Most of the tracks have some kind of piece of life advice, or, you know, something that you can live by, something you could set your watch to, some kind of old adage that you can sort of sit back and say, yeah, that's a pretty functional life theory. I can live by this music.
Amen.
The mixing and the sound of the recording pretty much match the straightforward feel that the music delivers for the most part. I wouldn't exactly call this LP dumbed down or simple, though. It does have its more inaccessible parts. For example, during a lot of the instrumental interludes or a bridge in the song, instead of throwing together a more tasteful solo, the band will throw in these really dissonant, ugly, distorted, noisy motifs that just sort of challenge you to listen to the rest of the song. Not exactly any shame in that guitar solo, is there? Some of the tracks on here really do get hectic. Instead of surrendering to a verse-chorus-verse structure, they go on these long, monotonous garage rock jams that just sort of switch between distorted guitar chords and lyrics. The song Pull Out is kind of like that.
As we learned our lesson, white butt heads.
And the album's closer, Parasites, has a similar delivery. There are less chaotic songs, but overall there's really not a lot of contrast on this LP, even with more tender moments like the song Mexico. The band really does show their softer side on that one, but even the Soft Pack's soft side isn't that much softer than their normal side. As long as we're talking about sameness and repetition, this new LP sounds exactly like the last record these guys put out as The Muslims, scarily enough. I know there were some lineup changes between being The Muslims and being the Soft Pack, but I just can't fathom as to why these guys wouldn't push their sound any further than maybe getting some better production on their music. This is most definitely not a bad album. I think newcomers to the band will most likely fall in love with how balls out it is and how gutsy it is. But for someone who's been down with the Muslims, it just kind of feels like more of the same. I still think the Soft Pack are a band that are worth watching, but ultimately I found this LP to be a little less thrilling than their last one, sadly. And also, this album kind of borders on stylistic monotony. Don't be surprised if some of the songs in your head start to blend together a little bit if you're not listening to it really hard. I'm going to give this LP a decent 6. For me, it did have some really standout tracks, and if you're into a lot of this neo-garage rock revival stuff that is really no nonsense and in your face, I highly recommend that you check this out. Anthony Fantano, The Soft Pack, forever.